it looks like we just received some terrible news this afternoon. Three police officers were shot in what you call a ambush type of style in Lorain, Ohio. So imagine you are in your patrol unit and you are parked beside another officer, and you guys are having a piece of a lunch, and all of a sudden a gunman probably already had been watching these officers in this particular area, and he knew exactly where they was going to be and what time they was going to take lunch. Pretty obviously he had been studying their things that they do, and he rolled up on them and shot three of them, and you got two of them are in serious condition and with life-threatening injuries, and one of them has non-life-threatening, and life flight has been called in to two of these officers, and they have been flown to the hospital there in Lorain, Ohio. So let's get into this video of this breaking news, and then I'm gonna come back and give you my commentary.
To understand just how massive of a scene this is. We are hearing helicopters overhead. We are here on Colorado Avenue where traffic has been blocked off. But if you look behind me, you can see all of these first responder vehicles, law enforcement agencies are stationed on Missouri Avenue. Now, Missouri Avenue dead ends past where all of these law enforcement vehicles are right now. We believe they might be searching for additional suspects, but according to Lorain's mayor, it's really unclear how many people are involved in this situation. We've been seeing SWAT vehicles arrive on scene, then we've seen some vehicles turn their lights on and go head back to different areas while a lot of onlookers are looking. Now, something we just learned a few minutes ago is, if our photographer Randy will pan off to this building, that is Horizon Summer Camp, where we have been told that they have gone into lockdown. There are 60 kids in there. They are being held there until they get the all clear that everything has been wrapped up, but definitely a tense situation. And as you said, with those details being sketchy, we are still really trying to learn more information about how many people are involved and how many suspects potentially could still be at large. Russ?
Annabelle, just to ease the concerns of any parents out there, again, kids at those summer camp there, the room is, the building is locked down, but as far as we know, everybody there is okay.
Yes, absolutely. They are okay. They did this out of an abundance of caution. They've shut down the keypads. They're just really wanting to make sure people are safe.
Okay, Annabelle Childers and Lorain, thank you very much.
Hi, Russ. Well, we got here about 2 p.m. and we started to hear those sirens come by. I'm going to show you what we're talking about. There is a bunch of Cleveland police officers lined up right there. They started showing up one by one, and then we started to hear those medical choppers overhead, then more police cars. They started to clear a path there in front of the emergency room. Now, we have not confirmed any of the officers were flown here, but Metro did confirm 2 officers were taken here for treatment, along with 1 suspect. Cleveland police also confirmed they helped shut down some of I-90 while the situation was unfolding. Again, Metro confirming 2 officers were sent here for treatment, along with 1 suspect. No word on any of their conditions, but of course, Russ will keep you posted as we get more information.
Okay, Lindsay Buckingham at Metro Hospital, thank you very much.
Hello, my name's Michael Failing. Last name spelling is F-A-I-L-I-N-G. I'm the acting chief of police for the city of Lorain. What I'm giving you is a preliminary investigation. Leary Police is still investigating. This is what we know for so far. At approximately 1:05 p.m., officers Wagner and Gale had purchased a pizza parked at the dead end of Missouri Avenue on the east side of Lorain. Missouri is an undeveloped industrial park that has walking trails and obviously some streets to drive. Officers were parked side by side, having their lunch in their respective patrol vehicles. The suspect had parked at the dead end of Missouri Avenue, and he had an arsenal of weapons with him. He was laying in wait and opened fire with multiple rounds at both of the officers who were sitting in their vehicles. A third officer, Officer Payne, responding to the call for help, called for additional officers and drove down to assist his fellow officers. Officer Payne was also shot multiple times in his patrol vehicle. Multiple officers responded to the scene when the call for help was transmitted. Assisting officers loaded up the wounding officers in patrol vehicles and drove them to the hospital themselves. They also provided wound care to their fellow officers. The officers were transported to Mercy Health. The suspect was shot on scene and was pronounced deceased. Officer Gale suffered a gunshot wound to his hand, and he's being treated at Mercy Health Center right now. Both Officer Payne and Wagner suffered multiple gunshot wounds, and they were airlifted to Metro. They're currently undergoing medical treatment, and if you could all pray for these officers. The investigation into this incident is being handled by Elyria Police Department, so the information I give you could be subject to change as a result of their investigation. At this time, I would like to thank the men and women of the Lorain Police Department, the ones standing behind me. A lot of them responded to this call. I'd like to thank them for their bravery, the remarkable response to this tragedy. I'd also like to thank our law enforcement partners, both local and federal, that responded to the scene. I want to thank Life Care, who responded to the scene, the wonderful staff at Mercy Hospital that were waiting for these officers and immediately began care as officers pulled into the parking lot. Please pray for the Lorain Police Department in the coming days. Thank you. Mr. Mayor.
I just want to echo the thoughts and statements of our police chief. We love our Lorain police officers. I consider them the best police officers in the state of Ohio. And we have support not only in the city of Lorain, but also the state of Ohio. I did receive a call from Governor DeWine as I was riding here to the hospital, giving his 100% support to our Lorain police, and also whatever help he could provide to the Lorain Police Department as we go through this tragic time. I also received a message from Senator John Husted's office indicating that they were praying for our officers and would provide whatever help they could or assistance they could provide to our Lorain police. So it's a tragic day in the city of Lorain, but we're a strong city, and we're going to move forward, and we just welcome all your prayers and all your support for our police officers and the citizens in the city of Lorain. Thank you very much.
At this point, the state FOP president, Jay McDonald, is going to say a couple of words.
Good afternoon. My name is Jay McDonald, MCD, ON, ALD, and I am the president of the FOP of Ohio. And I want to talk to you about violence against law enforcement. Through the month of June, 166 law enforcement officers have been shot in this country. And every day, these heroes behind me continue to come to work to protect and serve their communities, knowing that this violence continues to rain down on the men and women who swore an oath to protect people they don't even know. 166 men and women shot from January through June. And now we add 3 more names to that list. And all of these men and women behind me came running to help. Into a hail of gunfire to help their brothers. They're heroes. And everybody who hears this need to pray for the men and women of law enforcement, because they remain under attack, not only in Lorain, not only in Northeast Ohio, but all across our state. Quite frankly, it's time for all of us to come together to put a stop to this. Police, judges, prosecutors, legislators, and the general public all need to stand together, arm in arm, to condemn the violence, the senseless, cowardly violence like we saw today. The only way this will stop is if we're united and standing with law enforcement, in support of law enforcement, standing with cops who come to work to protect you and me, people they don't even know. Please pray for all 3 of these brave officers and every single man and woman who comes to work and puts on a badge and a vest and a gun, because they need it. And even in the face of this violence, they'll be here tomorrow and the day after and the day after, because they're answering the call to protect and serve their communities. Thank you.
So at that point, that's conclude the press conference. The chief has to get back to his officers, so we thank you.
Clarity on the names, I'm sorry, sir, but as that car was going by, can we get clarity on the officers and which positions they work for and their full names? Is that possible?
We'll have Cleveland release pictures of the and the officers.
Okay, and the full names and who was in which car?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Do we know conditions on the officers?
They're all being treated right now.
How is your department for that?
It's tough. This is the first major shooting that we've had in 7 years involving an officer being hit.
Sorry, how many years?
About 70 years.
7 years?
70.
Wow. Can you tell us who shot the suspect?
I have no idea. Yes, the Leary police is all handling that.
Can you release the suspect name?
I have no idea who he is, and I don't care.
All right, so thank you guys for coming today. That'll conclude today's press conference. Thank you.
Okay, thanks guys.
And again, this was a very sad day for the city of Lorain, Ohio, which is about 25 miles west of Cleveland, Ohio. You got three police officers now we had already had a Patrick car already in the prison system. As a matter of fact, he was in the prison where I worked at. And this indeed is a sad day for the city of Lorain, Ohio. 3 of their officers has been ambushed by a gunman with a high-powered rifle in a shooting on Wednesday, which is today, this afternoon. Just outside of Cleveland, leaving 2 of these 2 officers in a critical condition. Here it says the gunfire erupted around 1 p.m. Near an industrial park in Lorain, Ohio. The police added that the suspect was shot and killed on the scene. Three officers from Lorain Police Department were conducted a proactive patrolling when they approached a parked vehicle and were ambushed. James Wash, W-E-S-H, the police chief in the neighboring city of Elyria, that's E-L-Y-R-I-A, said in a news conference, the Elyria police were brought into the investigating a shooting because of the officers involved. The gunman is a 28-year-old man from Lorain, whom the authorities did not name at this time. He opened fire on the officer on a dead-end street. According to Chief Walsh, who said the officers had returned fire, it was not clear if the gunman who the chief had acted alone was killed by the police officers or took his own life. This is a difficult day for Lorain Police Department, of course, in the law enforcement community. So says Chief Walsh. We're building some initial news reports about the possible second suspect still being at large. The chief said that was not the case, and that the public is no longer in danger. Jack Bravery, the mayor of Lorain, said in a phone interview earlier today that the two officers in critical condition were flown by helicopter to Metro Health Medical Center in Cleveland, Ohio, and the third officer was being treated at a hospital in Lorain. So the updated information on the condition of the officer is not immediately available. And so there you have it. Sad day for law enforcement community when things like this happen. But all of us that's in the law enforcement community, we know that this could happen, but we just really never dwell on it. Yet each day we come to work and serve our various communities around this country. And I think they said since June, it's been like 160 some officers killed, been involved in some kind of ambush. Man, that's a lot of officers that are being killed in this country. And it seems as though we're having a war on law enforcement or the law enforcement community. I remember some time ago, about 30 years ago, 35 years ago, somewhere around there. I went to Jefferson State Junior College, majoring in criminal justice. At the time, I think I was probably around 21, 22 years old. I just turned 63 last month, so it gives you an idea of how long ago this been. I went to school with a couple of guys that was already on the police force, and one of them name was Myron Massey, and Myron worked for Fairfield PD, and I think it was probably another. I do believe it was probably about two of them, maybe possible three that worked for Fairfield PD, and we all went to school together, Jeff State Junior College. Now Myron was a black officer, and he stood at. Myron probably stood at. I'm 5'8", about 190 pounds. To give you an idea. No, I'm not a big man at all, and I didn't really gain this little weight that I got now until I got older, past 40. All my life I've been small. Once upon a time, I think I might have weighed less than 150 pounds. Well, Myron's probably was about 6'7" or 6'8", and when I tell you he was probably about 325, 330, or better. Yeah, not exaggerating. And Myron, we call Myron the gentle giant. And I have had 3 to 4 partners like this that was big like Myron. Two officers were black and one officer was white. So when those guys was around me and we was on duty, I really didn't have to worry about anybody coming up trying to mess with me, as long as I had those guys around. But Myron had a wife and I think it was 5 daughters, and two of them was two of them was a set of twins. And so I think Myron might have been, I think he was a little older than me. He might have been like in his early 30s. And I'm going to try to tie this all together for you guys. You have to excuse me for it being a long story, because it is. So me and Myron, like I said, Myron was already working for Fairfield PD. If you go to Fairfield now, just outside of Birmingham, it's like a ghost town. It's not even there. Not even the same kind of place as it was, say 35 years ago. Somebody, him boy, eat me up. I don't know what it is. So Myron was at work one night, and his brother worked for the same sheriff department that I worked for. And so I eventually resigned from the sheriff department and went to work for the state of Alabama as a correction officer. And I was trying to make my move to become an Alabama state trooper. So that's another story within itself, so I'm not gonna get into that one. So I'm on duty one night. Now hold up, I'm going a little bit too fast. I go through the Correction Academy and graduated Selma, Alabama in 1989. I say probably about a year. Let's see. No, it wasn't a year. Maybe about 3 to 6 months. Yeah, I want to say about 3. I want to say 3 months right after I got out of the academy. My whole family came to the graduation, and they was, stating how they haven't lost a correction officer in so many years, like about 30, 40 years in the state of Alabama. So I graduated from the academy and went to work for St. Clair State Prison. And let's see, I don't want to frame this. I was initially assigned to population, and after being assigned to population and coming off of probation, I got reassigned to segregation. Well, hold up, no, I'm going too fast. I got assigned to population. I'll put it to you like that. So this particular night, I worked night shift when I first started. This particular night, I was on duty in a what you call a MS unit. A MS unit is a patrol unit to actually patrol around the prison. And we have about 7 of them, 7 units. And you also had the tower. So you had an officer in the tower, and then you had 7 officers in patrol vehicles. And prior to that, I was walking around, because some days you work inside the prison, and some days you work outside the prison. You might be assigned to the tower, or you might be assigned to one of those patrol units. So you never know which each day, from day to day, what your duty gonna be from the next day to the next day. So to make a long story short, I was walking around inside of population. And you're talking about maybe 25 to 30 officers, if that many, assigned to a shift. And you're talking about over 1,000 inmates that we had to control. And in the population area, they roam free. And so that was this inmate kept watching me, and I kept asking him, why was he kept watching me. He later apologized, and he said that he got a younger brother, and his younger brother looks just like me, so we could be twins. And so this inmate was a pretty nice guy, so I was kind of curious what he did to end up in prison. And he told me he had met this guy, a young guy named Patrick Carr. So upon meeting inmate Ford, which he was assigned to the population unit at St. Clair, he reminded me that his little brother looked like me, looked like myself, and that we could possibly be twins. And upon me speaking to this inmate, I'm very observant of a personality. And so I was wondering, this guy seemed like a really Christian type of guy. So I asked him, how in the world did you end up in prison? And he told me that he met this guy named Patrick Carr Jr. Patrick Carr Sr. was already there in prison. And matter of fact, his husband, I say his husband, was the guy named Zebby Z. And Zebby Z was my barber. And Zebby, people in prison, they come to prison with all kinds of skills, being able to cook, construction, electricity. And Zeb he knew how to cut hair, so he was a barber in prison. And one of the things that we as correction officers back then could do, if we got any kind of work or a favor from a inmate, if it's no matter what it was, if it was some kind of craft material that they make, because sometimes they make boats and all kinds of stuff like that, little artifacts that you could take home and be just outrageous, just gorgeous, skill that different people will have coming into the prison system. And so Zeb, his skill was a barber, and so instead of me going to a regular barber, I go to work and I have Zeb to cut my hair for me. And the only thing I had to pay him was like a meal from Burger King or McDonald's or pizza, Taco Bell, or a 12 glaze of those, 12 dozen of glaze. So it all just depends on what he wanted. And so Patrick Jr. Mother left their vehicle at the shop that Ford was working at to do some mechanic work, and she came back where he told her that the vehicle would be ready 3-4 days later. And so instead of she coming back and picking up her vehicle herself, she sent her son Patrick Carr Jr. to pick up the vehicle. And in doing so, he asked Ford would he like to ride and hang out that night, and he said sure. And so they hung out and they went to Midfield, Alabama, which is right next to Fairfield. Keep in mind, my buddy that I was telling you about, the big tall black officer, Myron Massey, worked for Fairfield PD. And so they was in Midfield and they bought some gas and they drove off without paying. And so Myron got the call along with Midfield police, and he pulled the vehicle over. And Ford told me that Patrick was driving the vehicle. And Patrick said, "Watch this." He pulled out a weapon, fired off 3 shots, striking Myron dead center. Like I said, Myron was a pretty big guy, so he was an easy target. And he didn't wear a bulletproof vest because of his size. But super nice guy. And so he died on the operating table. And And so Patrick went through the justice system, and they put him in West Jefferson prison system. And so one night there was another incident. A black correction officer and a white correction officer, and they was going around with the nurse or the facilities. And as the inmates come out of their cell, they would put their hands out through the doggy door, and they would put handcuffs on him. And since he was going to take some medicine, they put the handcuffs in the front instead of the back. And once the doors opened, not realizing Patrick Carr had a homemade shank, which was a knife that he probably got from another inmate. And he come out with the knife and went 3 times in the white officer chest, and he died right there on the scene. And Patrick Carr Jr. They tried to put him in a secure cell because all of the correctional officers wanted to kill him. They were all trying to, man, it was an uproar in that prison that night. And the uproar wasn't the inmates. The uproar was the correction officers trying to get Patrick Carr. So they had to ship Patrick Carr out of West Jefferson to the prison where I was working at, which is St. Clair. And I was out that particular night. I was out in the patrol unit, and they brought Patrick in through the back tunnel, and with about 5 officers, and maybe about 1 sergeant. And once he come in, the sergeant hit the lights in the tunnel, and it went dark. And he said, "Okay, boys, y'all have at it." And they beat this boy, mercifully until they actually thought they had killed him. So they rushed him to the infirmary, and he told the infirmary that that's how he arrived. And needless to say, those old fired officer was fired along with that sergeant. But that's how the story was tied into me. Is that me knowing Myron Massey? Me and him went to school together, Jeff State, and he was a Fairfield police officer. And then I went to work after I left the sheriff department. I went to work for the state as a correction officer, and I was assigned to St. Clair, and I got a chance to meet Patrick Carr. And I'm talking to Patrick Carr just like I'm talking to you guys in the prison. And he was always telling me, I'm scared these people are going to take my life. Because at that particular time, he had already killed two law enforcement officers. One on the street and one in the prison. And he is concerned about somebody taking his life when he had already took 2 lives of 2 law enforcement officers. And after I got out of the academy, I think this happened probably about 3 to 4, 5 months after I got out of the academy. Because one thing they was bragging about is that they never had a officer killed in the line of duty in the state of Alabama in like 30-some years. And so and my family was all there, and so that put them at ease. But 3 or 4 months after I got out of the academy, this happened. And I went to this young officer funeral, and just one of many funerals that I had went to. But this tells you how I'm all tied up into this story, because I actually knew Myron Massey, the officer from Fairfield that was killed, and they named the school after him in Fairfield, and they also a boulevard. Myron Massey Boulevard Maury Massey Elementary School, if it's still there today. Because like I said, I was like 35 years ago. And so Patrick, man, Patrick was, like I said, he was a good-looking kid. You would think he would be capable of doing something like this just by having an everyday normal conversation with him. But eventually they took him back to West Jefferson, and somehow he had to go back to West Jefferson for court for killing the correction officer. And somehow Patrick Carr ended up dead. They say he hung himself. And so I don't know whether he hung himself or what, but I think when he got back to West Jefferson, he ended up unalive, I say. And so this is just one of many stories I can relate with this with these officers today in Lorain, Ohio, being ambushed and killed on patrol as these men and women show up every day bravely to protect our community. And so it's going to be a sad day, but law enforcement community will get through it. And this is just one of the things of being a law enforcement officer that you have to deal with, whether or not you are able to come home or return home back to your family. I hate to hear things like this happen, and it just so happened I'm one of the ones that made it to retirement. So, but we ask you once again to support the channel simply by liking, sharing, and subscribing. We thank you for listening and rocking with us, and we'll see you in the next video.